All right, we are reconvening, and I'd like to disclose that there are no closed session disclosures, and we will adjourn the special meeting at 6:07 p.m. And now I will call to order our Elk Grove City Council regular meeting. Today is Wednesday, April the 28th, 2021, and it is 6:07 p.m. Mr. Lindgren.
Thank you, Mayor. Consistent with Executive Orders N-29-20 and N-35-20 issued by the Governor of the State of California, this meeting will be conducted by teleconference only. The meeting location will be the City Council chamber, but it will not be open to the public. This meeting of the Elk Grove City Council will be replayed on Metro Cable Channel 14 on Friday, April 30th at 1 p.m. and Wednesday, May 5th at 9 a.m. It is being closed captioned and will be webcast at sacmetrocable.tv. City Council meeting videos are also archived on the city's website at elkgrovecity.org. For members of the participating audience who may have personal electronic devices, please place them on silent mode during the meeting or on mute when you are not speaking. Elk Grove City Council welcomes, appreciates, and encourages participation in the City Council meeting. City Council requests that you limit your presentation to 3 minutes per person so that all present will have time to participate. City Council reserves the right to reasonably limit the total time for public comment on any particular notice agenda item as it may deem necessary. Pursuant to Resolution number 2010-24, no individual speaker concerning public comment may address the City Council for more than 3 minutes. In the Zoom environment, a speaker timer will be displayed counting down the 3-minute time. For callers connecting direct via telephone, they can utilize the raise hand feature by pressing *9, and the city clerk will run a speaker timer. And after the first 2 minutes have passed for those only participating via phone, a single bell ding will sound to inform that 1 minute remains on that speaker timer for the folks that are only in the audio environment. And when the total 3-minute time concludes, a series of bells will sound. With that, Mayor and Council, we will move on to Section 1, the call to order and the roll call. For our roll call in the teleconference environment, we do these verbally, as well as all votes that we will take through the course of the meeting. And so for the start of the roll call, I will start with Councilmember Spies.
Present.
Councilmember Hume.
Here.
Councilmember Suen.
Here.
Vice Mayor Nguyen.
Here.
And Mayor Singh Allen.
Here. Can you hear me?
We can. So that's everyone is in attendance. And pardon me, I'm just having a little bit of my systems getting bounced around here. But that'll take us to Section 2 or 1.2, the Pledge of Allegiance.
All right, thank you. Can I get everyone to please rise, and I'll ask again my colleague, Councilmember Spies, to lead us.
Please stand. Hand over heart. Pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you.
At this moment, I'd like for everyone to please join me in a moment of silence. Thank you. Next item.
That'll take us to Section 2, our approval of the agenda.
All right, can I get a motion?
Motion.
Second.
We have a motion and a second.
And for the roll call vote on the approval of the agenda, I will start with Councilmember Spies.
Yay.
Councilmember Hume. We'll try one more time. Councilmember Hume, might just be a mute, unmute function.
Aye.
Councilmember Suen.
Aye.
Vice Mayor Nguyen.
Yes.
And Mayor Singh Allen.
Aye.
We have an agenda with a 5-0 vote.
Thank you. Next item.
Section 3 of the closed session, we have no closed session items on the regular agenda, so that will advance us to Section 4, our presentations and announcements, starting with item 4.1, which is a recognition of the Toby Johnson Middle School Cyberbots team for their outstanding achievement in a National Youth Cybersecurity Competition. And I am of an understanding we do have several of the members, both the teacher representative and several of the members of the Cyberbots team here this evening, Mayor, Vice Mayor, and Council.
Great. We'd like to present the teacher lead, Ryan North, and the student members of the Cyberbots team. Are we queuing them up to speak?
And we'll have staff. We can kind of start off with Mr. North and see where we go from there.
Okay.
Hello, I'm Mr. North from Toby Johnson Middle School. And thank you so much to the council for recognizing the achievements of the Toby Johnson Cyber Patriot team. Their second in the nation finish in the Cyber Patriot competition was achieved through lots of teamwork, peer leadership, problem solving, months and months of practice, as well as collaboration. And these students, no matter what career path they decide to choose, their cyber security skills and their ability to work together will benefit themselves as well as the community. So a huge thank you to the council for honoring these 6 talented students. I'm so proud of their growth and success in Cyber Patriot.
Congratulations to you, Mr. North, and to all of our amazing students. What a tremendous achievement. I'm sure Councilmember Spees would love to say a thing or two here since he's an expert in this field.
It's funny you should say that. I've prepared a few comments. I guess let me get my video going there. There we go. So, first, I'm thrilled to see this item tonight because there's just so much goodness here. I want to say congratulations to the Toby Johnson Middle School Cyberbots team. Earning second place in a field of 754 teams is absolutely commendable. It takes a lot of skill and teamwork and focus to win, and I'm glad we have an opportunity to recognize you tonight. But of course, it is more than just 6, right? I've got to recognize that the Cyberbots team competed a week or so ago, and they placed first. Right? So they placed first in the NorCal Cyber Mayor's Cup in the Greater Sacramento Middle School region, while their neighbor, Franklin High School, placed first in the Greater Sacramento High School division. So, Madam Mayor, what that means to you is that Sacramento Mayor Steinberg is going to have to come visit Elk Grove and deliver the cup to you. So I
welcome that.
That's going to have to be videoed.
For sure.
So I'd also like to highlight their coach, Ryan North. He's been doing a fantastic job teaching the Toby Johnson Middle School team for several years now. And in fact, 2 years ago, one of his teams placed 8th, and then the next year, 7th, and now 2nd. This is awesome. They've got a mentor, George Valencia. He's a security architect working at Wells Fargo, and he's an officer in the United States Air Force Reserve Cyber Defense. So no doubt the teams are benefiting from some great experience from George. And I'm going to lay it a little bit thicker here because I want to be sure to acknowledge Sean McNally, an Elk Grove mathematics teacher who initially helped establish the Elk Grove Unified School District as a Cyber Patriot Center of Excellence. He's now working at a regional level to bring Cyber Patriot to kids across the region. Cybersecurity is my day job, right? And I know that there is high demand for workers with cybersecurity skills. And I'm absolutely thrilled to see the dynasty that Elk Grove is building. I'm happy to see that we're becoming a dominant force in these competitions. And it's not just bragging rights for the kids, but to see that our youth are having fun while preparing themselves for success in the future. So congratulations to coaches, mentors, and of course, the team members of the Toby Johnson Middle School Cyberbots. Good job, guys.
Thank you, Councilmember Spees. And, it's programs like these that help build careers. And so just kudos to everybody involved and the students. I don't know if we have any of our students on the line. If they wanted to speak, I'm happy to provide that opportunity.
Students, if you could raise your hand if you'd like to speak, it would help us find you quickly so we can unmute you.
Hello.
Coming in loud and clear. Please proceed.
I just want to thank all the council members for recognizing us, and Mr. North and all of our mentors for helping us make nationals and get second place.
Thank you. Congratulations. Do we have any other students on the line?
I think we have several in attendance from the team, and we give that invitation, and I think Mr. Nathan Lee would like to have a few comments here.
Please.
Nathan, you can go ahead.
I'd also like to thank my coach, my fellow team members, and also the council to allow us for today.
Thank you, Nathan. Does that conclude our student comments?
I don't see any other hands raised at this time, Mayor.
Okay, excellent. Well, congratulations to Elk Grove Unified School District, Toby Johnson Middle School, the Cyberbots team, and the coaches. A job well done. Congratulations to everyone. Thank you. We will go ahead and move on to our next item.
That next item will be item 4.2, which is the presentation of the 2021 Mayor's Volunteer Awards.
All right, I get to do a lot of talking right now. All right, it is my distinct pleasure to be presiding over these wonderful awards this evening. April is National Volunteer Month, a month dedicated to recognizing the importance of volunteering and honoring the significant contributions that volunteers make by generously donating their time and talents to worthy causes. One of the honors I have as mayor is to recognize Elk Grove residents who volunteer their time and talent to make Elk Grove a better place to call home. Our annual Mayor's Volunteer Awards are open to individuals, groups, businesses, agencies, and organizations whose volunteer activities directly benefit our community. We recognize residents in 6 different categories. With so many deserving nominations submitted for this program each year, it is very difficult to choose. Before I announce this year's winners, I would like to take a moment to recognize the Senior Center of Elk Grove and the Interfaith Council of Elk Grove. These 2 organizations were given an honorable mention by the selection committee for their dedication and outstanding contributions to our community. We appreciate their service to the community, especially during the events this past year. They will undoubtedly be considered for an award in the future for the great work that they do. Now let me announce the winners for 2021. In the category of residents, neighborhoods, and community groups, our winner is Sharon Anderson. She was nominated by 6 members of our community group. Sharon is a champion for Camden Park and Camden Passage neighborhoods as its longtime volunteer association president and active Trails Committee member, and a big part of the Elk Grove Anti-Trash Committee. As the president of Camden Neighborhood Association, Sharon communicates with city personnel whenever a need arises and keeps them apprised of issues affecting her neighbors. She has also created many ways for neighbors to meet and enjoy their area. As an avid bike rider, she has served on the Elk Grove Trails Committee since 2004 and continues to advise the council on ways to promote bike safety and connectivity throughout the community. In her latest role on the Elk Grove Anti-Trash Committee, Sharon has led weekly cleanup events throughout the city. The group's amazing results, sad but amazing, have been documented on their social media pages and Sharon's personal pages. Sharon exemplifies what it means to be involved with her community and her neighbors. Please join me in recognizing Sharon Anderson. Do we have Sharon on the line?
Yes, Mayor Allen, I am here.
Yay!
Thank you so much for the award. That means a lot to me and to all whom I serve. I don't think there was just one person who sent in a nomination for me, and that brings a little bit of a tear to my eye because of we have an incredible sense of community where I live, and also Elk Grove exemplifies community. The anti-trash, as you know, the anti-trash group was founded by David and Kalia Irons, and through their great work, we've caught on and just basically shirt-tailed the work that they are doing. And it's been my pleasure to help administrate some of those efforts. But for Camden, the Camden Neighborhood Association, I absolutely adore who I live with in my community, and it makes it easy for me to remain right here in Camden and continue to build the community and be an example for others. I have to say that I am surrounded by an incredible and generous board. We have some great talent on our board. So it's not just me that's being recognized. It's got to be the entire board and those who have come before to help create a sense of place in Camden that sort of permeates the rest of where we live. Lately, as you know, we've been hosting Thursday night food truck events. And because we're on the far side of town, I don't think we conflict much with District 56 and the neighborhood markets. Anyhow, if I were to give any advice to others, is get nosy and find out how to organize events and meetings that improve the community. Find out how government works and how all aspects serve our residents. And then join a committee or a commission. And then live in Elk Grove, stay here and work for the change that you see as a vision. I think those who are working alongside me, we all share a very similar vision, and that is just to make it a fun place to live and make it better for everybody. So on that, I really appreciate the award, and it permeates through to those who I work alongside. Thank you.
Thank you, Sharon. You truly are the best of us. So congratulations. The award looks something like this, and I'm just so proud that you are one of our recipients. Thank you for all that you do to improve our community. Congratulations.
Thank you, Bobby. It takes one to know one.
All right, thank you again. In the category of social and community services, our winner is Elk Grove Heart, nominated by Frank Lucia. Established in 2010, the founders of Elk Grove Heart saw the growing issue of people experiencing homelessness and developed an organization to assist people in becoming independent and self-sustaining. The organization volunteers work tirelessly to help meet basic needs, encourage movement out of homelessness, connect people to resources, mentor individuals, teach and assist with budgeting, and aid individuals in attaining gainful employment. Heart's board of directors are very committed and deserving of this recognition. Please join me in recognizing Elk Grove Heart. Do we have a representative from Elk Grove Heart with us this evening?
And I believe we do.
Debbie, your mic is unmuted if you want to go ahead.
Hi, this is Debbie Shana Safer, and I am representing the board who are absolutely amazing, especially this year. We were presented with the challenge of trying to care for our homeless without a winter sanctuary, which we couldn't do because of COVID. So literally our volunteers risked their lives to go out to the camps and feed the homeless, make sure that they were okay, provide specialized shelter bags, clothing when they needed it, boots, shoes, that kind of thing. And we're excited about the Gardens at Quail Run, which the City Council very generously is supporting. And Heart is working with churches to make sure the 10 people that are going to be moving in from Elk Grove will have fully furnished apartments. We so greatly appreciate all the support we get throughout the year from the city. There's no way we could do this without that support, and so greatly appreciate you. Thank you.
Thank you. And I'm actually holding what is your award. So congratulations to you, Debbie, and Elk Grove Heart. You truly rose to the challenge just this past year during COVID and meeting those needs to help our unhomed population. Thank you for your contributions in making our community a better place. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Mayor, we also have David Neves on the line. I think he wanted to speak as
Oh,
well.
absolutely. Dave.
Madam Mayor and City Council members, I would like to add to this that Debbie, who just spoke, and Frank Lucia are the founders of HEART. Although I've only known Debbie for a short time, I'm a new member to the board of directors for HEART. I've known Frank Lucia for the better part of 30 some odd years. And Frank exemplifies everything that this community recognizes as that person who gives and gives and gives. And from what I've learned about Debbie so far, they're a wonderful match, and it's easy to see how HEART was created and is now being replicated in many, many situations. I want everyone listening to this Zoom meeting to understand that homelessness is also affecting the children of our community and parents of our community. And it's something that I think everybody needs to be fully aware of. And we need to continue to have programs like HEART support those of us that have experienced homelessness, those of us that are facing homelessness, and find ways to lift these people, because the least of us deserves the best of us.
Thank you, Mr. Nevis. And, you know, if I may brag about you, you are also just an amazing contributor to our community. Not only did you serve Elk Grove Unified School District for decades, but you really invested in our highest need students and really believed in them and really connected with them in such a profound way. So I'm just proud to know you. And you could have easily just retired like you did with the district, but you continue to serve our community. And we are better off because of residents like you. So thank you, Dave, for all that you do in Elk Grove and beyond.
Thank you.
Do we have anybody else, or we will move on to our next category?
I don't see anyone else with their hand raised.
Okay, excellent. In the category of Arts, Culture, and Heritage, the winner is Neil Nayar, nominated by Nina Kohler. At only 12 years old, Neil played 44 musical instruments. He currently plays 107 musical instruments. Neil holds the Assist Foundation's world record as the youngest person to play all those instruments from all parts of the planet. Neil has played at local events and venues, including a recent performance at the Mandavi Center. He supports a number of local organizations with his musical skills, including local pride events and the Multicultural Festival. He is an inspiration to the present and future generations. And I would also like to add that he just did an amazing job this past Saturday. We held a candlelight vigil in honor of the victims of the Indianapolis mass shooting at the Singen Car Park. And he did a beautiful rendition of the Star Spangled Banner and Amazing Grace. So he is not only talented, but he does support local efforts like I just read. So thank you again, Neil. Please join me in recognizing Neil Nayar for the category of Arts, Culture, and Heritage. Neil, are you with us this evening?
Yes, I'm here.
Hi, the microphone is yours.
Thank you. First of all, I would like to thank the city panel for selecting me for this volunteer award. And I would like to thank our newly elected mayor, Bobby Singh Allen, for her support to the talent of Elk Grove. And I would like to thank the city council members. My message to youth here and all over the world is to do volunteer work. It is really worthy to work to make our community better. Thank you, city council members, for inviting me. Thank you.
Thank you, Neil, and congratulations. Thank you for your kind words and your inspiration to have others step up to volunteer.
Thank you.
Couldn't have said it better. Thank you again. All right, moving on to the category of Sports and Recreation. The winner is Mike Zamora, nominated by 3 members of our community. Mike has consistently served in sports leadership positions over the past decade and served on several boards of directors in the area. Mike's children have moved beyond youth and high school sports, but in 2020, when the Elk Grove Youth Baseball League was met with many challenges and a lack of volunteers due to COVID, Mike stepped up to fill the role of president of the league. Mike has selflessly volunteered countless hours towards the success of the organization with a strong focus on advocating for the youth it serves, finding ways to extend registration and allow all comers to join the league. He committed 15 to 20 hours per week of volunteer time in the off season and much more than that from February through June while in season. For Mike's unselfish commitment to his community and the nearly 1,000 players ranging in ages from 4 to 12 years old that this league serves, please join me in recognizing Mike Zamora. Is Mike with us this evening?
And Mayor, we don't have a sign in for Mr. Zamora, but we do have 2 phone callers. And so we have an 813 area code and a 916. I'm not sure if either of those are Mr. Zamora. You can press *9 on your phone in order to raise your hand, and we can pull you into the audio environment. Those callers may be for other items though, as well. So
okay, well, let's see if they're for this item so we don't exclude anyone.
And again, for those callers, if you're listening in, we'd ask you to press *9 on your phone. It's what gives you the raise hand function, but we're looking for Mr. Zamora. And Mr. Zamora, I think we're going to unmute. We hope we've got you here at a 916 area code. We do have a hand raised up on one of the phone callers.
Excellent.
And staff will just activate them in order to unmute their line and bring them into the environment.
What?
And we have a phone caller. You're calling into the City Council regular meeting, and we're hoping that you're Mr. Zamora.
Yes, I am.
Please proceed, Mr. Zamora. You have the floor.
Well, I'd just like to thank everybody for nominating me. I don't think I deserve it. I think there's a lot more people out there do a lot more than what I do, but I appreciate it, and thank you.
Thank you and congratulations, Mr. Zamora. Definitely well deserved.
Thank you.
Thank you. We will move on to the next category of which is service organizations and groups. The winner is Elk Grove Anti-Trash Group, nominated by Brett Bartholomew. This group coordinates volunteer community cleanups throughout the city. David and Kalia Irons were the inspiration behind the startup of this group. Their effort is supported by the city, the Cosumnes Community Services District, and Republic Services. Weekly cleanups are scheduled every Saturday in different parts of the city. The volunteers in this group model the care, compassion, and eco-awareness that sets a positive example for the community. Their efforts continue to clean and beautify the landscapes we all enjoy. Please join me in thanking and recognizing the Elk Grove Anti-Trash Group. Do we have representatives from the group with us this evening?
You do. You've got David Irons and Liz Irons, and I think Sharon's got her hand up.
I think we'll recognize Mr. David Irons.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Please proceed, Mr. Irons.
I'd like to thank you for the, I guess, Brett Bartholomew for the nomination and being recognized. And I'd like to thank the over 150 volunteers that we've had over the past 7-8 months. I may be the one recognized, and the group may be recognized, but it's only possible because of so many people joining us every Saturday to clean up. We have a lot of regulars and a lot of good people I've met over the past year. And thank you for the city council, many of them going out and picking trash themselves, as well as CSD and Republic Trash. How's that? Sharon Anderson for her knowledge and wisdom and her organizational skills definitely make making this group very successful. And I hope that we do great work in the future.
Thank you, sir. Do we have anyone else that would like to speak from the Elk Grove Anti-Trash Group?
I believe we do. From what I'm seeing, staff has Sharon Anderson lined up, and then we have Liz Irons as well. Sharon, if you're hearing us online, you want to
Yes. Hey.
please proceed.
Welcome back.
Hey, welcome to you. We'd love to see you at a trash cleanup, but you know, you can't wear sandals, but you definitely can wear your hat and your red lipstick, Bobby. I think it would be.
Pretty sure that was for me.
You know, David and Kalia are so inspirational, and you know, without their parents, Liz Irons and Randy Irons, always showing up and bringing things that help us out, that we have what we call the body bag full of grabbers, because she used a giant Christmas tree bag to hold all the grabbers so that we can loan them out for every cleanup. I mean, between David and Kalia and getting people signed up and waivers filled out, there's a lot of work that goes on behind the scenes, and it takes a group effort to pull off these weekly cleanups. The Elk Grove has never had this before. We've never had a weekly cleanup. We did the annual Earth Day, and that was wonderful. But as David said and Kalia said, you can't sustain a once a year cleanup. It's got to be more frequently. And we've pulled together this incredible group of like-minded people and beginners, people who've never done a cleanup before. Now they're pros. Now they know exactly what to do, where to go. We don't even have to give them the trash talk. They just go and do it. And, you know, without David and Kalia leading that charge and being visible on Nextdoor, and, you know, Kevin Spees picked up on that and he amplified that, you know, initial surge. And it just, you just can't imagine how big the heart feels when you see people together doing something every single week to make it better. And, you know, we're working with volunteers who also are part of Heart, and part of people who do homeless outreach, and the church community group. They know exactly how to guide us when we're in sensitive areas. And without that level of commitment from everybody, we wouldn't be where we are. And we are trying to make Elk Grove better. And if anybody is listening to this that wants to join us, you can either look on Nextdoor under the Elk Grove Anti-Trash Group and join the group, and you'll get notified of events, or on Facebook, we're the same thing, Elk Grove Anti-Trash Community Cleanups. We go out every week. Love to have people join. And I just can't say enough about David and Kalia, Liz, Randy, and everybody who's helped so far. Thank you, Kevin. Thank you, Darren. Thank you, Stephanie, for joining in. I would love to get Pat Hume out there someday, and I know he'll do it.
Challenge accepted from both of us, I'm sure. We will see you. Thank you. Do we have Ms. Irons?
I think staff are just in process of activating that account of Liz Irons for her to be able to speak. And it looks as though you should be active.
Hello.
Please proceed.
Good evening. I would like to thank the support of the council, Darren Soon for hooking us up with Republic, Kevin Spees. You are Mr. Elk Grove, because you are there and very supportive. Sharon Anderson, you're great about organization and who to reach out to. When we started this, we didn't know how it would be or anything, but we kept getting thank yous from people. And this is a lot of fun, actually, because you get to meet people, you're helping the environment, you're helping the city, and it's just a good feeling all around. So we'd love to see you all out there cleaning up litter, and it's a great experience. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Irons. Does that conclude the remarks for the Elk Grove Anti-Trash Group?
And I believe that does.
Okay, excellent. Congratulations again. In the category of Young Volunteer of the Year, nominated by yours truly, the nomination was for Timothy Duong He's our winner and recipient for the Young Volunteer of the Year. Let me tell you a little bit about Timothy. What began as a high school class project has grown into a series of demonstrations striking back against anti-Asian hate racism. Franklin High School student Timothy Duong learned from media reports about the rise in anti-Asian hate crimes. He produced a public service announcement called Silent for Too Long for his podcasting class that's viewable on YouTube. His family began demonstrating on the northeast corner of the intersection of Laguna Boulevard and Bruceville Road to raise awareness of this trend. What started as a family project has grown to include dozens of other community members and a series of demonstrations that have generated awareness and a greater unity in Elk Grove. And I can say he and his father and family they come out every week, and they've joined other community efforts beyond anti-Asian hate, just to raise awareness on all hate. And just so proud of Timothy. He reached out to me several months ago when he produced this podcast video. And I was just so impressed with his activism at such a young age. And then he took that activism into reality with the demonstrations at the corner of Laguna and Bruceville. So I'm just very proud of that whole family. You're just all doing great work. So at this time, please join me in recognizing Timothy and his family. Do we have representatives of the Duong family with us?
Hello, this is Tim speaking.
Hey, Tim, welcome.
I would just like to thank the community for always coming out and showing their support. I would like to thank my parents. They were always there behind my back. And besides the people that came out, I would also like to thank the people that showed positive feedback from my video and helped spread it around. I never thought that it would reach levels this high. And I believe that my one small action allowed me to help reach more people and reach the hearts of the many. And for that, I thank you all. Thank you.
Thank you, Timothy. And again, thank you to your family for all that you do to raise awareness and for your activism. We're just incredibly proud of you. Thank you again. I'd like to thank Sharon Anderson, Elk Grove Heart, Neil Nayar, Mike Zamora, Elk Grove Anti-Trash Group, and Timothy Duong for the significant impact on the quality of life you're making in our city. If you know someone you'd like to nominate next year, please visit the city's website for more information and complete the form online at www.elkgrovecity.org/award. Thank you again and congratulations to all of the winners. That concludes this item on the agenda. Next item, please.
That'll take us on to section 5, public comment. Participating members of the viewing audience may comment on any item not on the agenda that is of interest to the public and within the subject matter jurisdiction of the City Council. Each person will be allowed 3 minutes or less if a large number of requests are received on a particular subject. City Council cannot take action on non-agendized items raised under public comment until the matter has been specifically included on an agenda as an action item. Members of the public desiring a response to a specific question are encouraged to contact any member of the council or the city manager at any time. Those audience members who wish to address a specific agendized item are encouraged to offer their public comments during consideration of that item. And at this point, Mayor, Vice Mayor, and council members, we do have a speaker, Lynn Wheat, but I'd also encourage for any of our participants in the Zoom environment, please use that raise hand function in order to queue yourself into the speaker line. And I do note that we do have a caller in which you are participating via audio only. But if you do wish to speak on any of the items, the way that you would participate is through your phone, hit on your keypad *9 for an item as we come into this area. And so where we are is in general public comment section 5. If you hit that *9 function, it will raise your hand for your phone line that we're seeing on our visual display on our side. Otherwise, I will pull up the speaker timer and start that off with Ms. Lynn Wheat.
Ms. Wheat, you may go ahead. You have 3 minutes.
Good evening, Mayor and City Council members. At your May 12th meeting, you will be voting to approve the housing element. With the effects of the pandemic hanging over us and the disparity of income, I would encourage the city to decide whether it will be an advocate for affordable housing in theory or in actual practice. The update of the housing element is the right time to decide. If you are satisfied with charging developers a rock bottom fee on new development and using those fees to help subsidize apartments, then by all means, keep doing what you've been doing for the past 20 years. But if you want to be proactive and innovative like Roseville and hundreds of other cities in California, then please use this opportunity to enact an inclusionary housing ordinance, requiring developers to set aside a minimal percentage of their new housing units for low and moderate income families. Recognizes that there is more to affordable housing than building apartments. Why not let a broad range of lower income families enjoy the chance to build equity in home ownership rather than defining them as a renter class? For over 15 years, I've been asking the city to adopt a more proactive approach to affordable housing. And at the Planning Commission, I heard staff say it can't be done. At the last Planning Commission meeting, I also heard by the innovative manager that we don't have the right people at the table. Well, rather than accept defeat, let's ask Roseville how they did it and maybe get some new people at a new table. For years, the industry working group has been meeting behind closed doors, making decisions with staff in the direction that will determine our city. How about opening those doors to the people that matter most, the residents? I've been told that lower income renters often lack the down payment for a home. Somehow Roseville solved this by becoming a silent partner in a second mortgage to provide the down payment. I don't know about you, but I believe that being able to buy into the American dream and not being relegated to the renter class is the right thing to do. We pride ourselves as being racially diverse, but we are economically diverse as well. And left to their own devices, the home builders have no incentive to help Elk Grove meet the needs of all its residents. I hope that you will take to heart that we need more than just affordable apartments. We haven't had any duplexes or triplexes built in the last 20 years, yet we've spent $20 million to try to address the needs of our lower income residents. Thank you for the opportunity to speak tonight.
Thank you, ma'am. Next caller.
And we are looking over the list. If there's interest to speak under general public comment of section 5 of the agenda, we would ask participants to raise their hand, or our phone caller, if you are interested in speaking under general public comment, *9 is that function that you want to dial on your keypad. But at this time, I am not seeing anyone with any interest to speak under general public comment this evening.
Very well, then we will move on to our next item.
And that next item will be section 6, general administration information.
Good evening, Madam Mayor, members of the City Council. Jason Behrman, City Manager, happy to report on a few items for you this evening. Volunteers, including staff from our city, will visit hundreds of local businesses next Tuesday and Wednesday, May 4th and 5th, to discuss the health of Elk Grove business community. The 2-day event will check in on local businesses and connect them to resources that they may need. Survey answers will support economic development and public policy efforts aimed at building community through business. Visit the Chamber of Commerce website for more details. Next Thursday, May 6th, is the Big Day of Giving, a major fundraising event for regional nonprofit organizations. Many Elk Grove nonprofits participate in this event, and most groups are taking donations now. Find out more about what Elk Grove's nonprofits do for our community and consider donating at www.bigdayofgiving.org. The Consumers Community Services District is looking for naming suggestions for 2 new parks. The nomination form, a complete list of criteria, and additional details are available on the district's website at yourcsd.com. Nominations are being accepted through May 24th. And last week, the city hosted a Careers in Public Service Day in partnership with the Elk Grove Unified School District and Innovative Pathways to Public Service. 106 students from the district heard from speakers, attended a resume building workshop, and learned about a variety of careers in public service. Today is the last day to apply for a scholarship offered by the city's Youth Commission. 5 scholarships will be awarded to Elk Grove High School students, grades 9 through 12, who have excelled in their academics, given back to their community, and done something impressive during the year of quarantine. Applications are being accepted online on the city's website. And finally, after 1 year of administering the Great Plates Delivered Senior Meal Program, the city will close the program on May 7th. Since its inception, the program has partnered with 20 food providers, fed 755 local seniors. The program also infused more than $5.5 million into the local economy, largely offset by state and federal funds. Many thanks to our program partners and volunteers who have worked so hard to keep Elk Grove seniors safe during the pandemic. The city is working with Meals on Wheels to help transition seniors who continue to need food assistance. More than 50 referrals to that program have already been made, and I'm happy to answer any questions the council might have.
Thank you, sir. Any questions? All right, thank you for your update, Mr. Berman. We will go on to our next item.
Mayor, Vice Mayor, and council members, as we were closing out Section 5 public comment, we did have one of our participants raise their hand. It would be at the pleasure of the council if you do wish to hear general public comment, and just return to that item to give that opportunity to the speaker.
I have no objection. Is there anybody who has an issue? Otherwise, I will go ahead. I know that it's challenging during the Zoom platform to click the right button, so I will use my privilege here as the presiding officer and go ahead and allow for the speaker to comment.
And staff will get them activated, and we'll get that ready to go here.
Thank you.
Teresa Gutierrez, you can unmute your mic and go ahead. You have 3 minutes.
Oh, no, I didn't want to speak right now. I'm sorry.
Oh, okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
Before you go, can you let us know which item that you have an interest in?
Yeah, no, I'm just listening. I'm just listening. Thank you.
Fair enough. Well, thank you for letting us test out our systems, though, as well.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. And if we can get that hand raised either through our IT or if Ms. Gutierrez, if you know how to do that on your end, that will be great.
With that, and thank you everyone just for taking the time to make sure we're giving everybody that opportunity. That'll take us on to Section 7, council comments, reports, and future agenda items.
Great. I will go ahead and start with Councilmember Spies.
I don't have anything to report, so in the interest of time this evening, I'll move it along. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Councilmember Hume.
I'd just like to start by nominating Councilmember Spies as best council report ever. I will be brief. On the 19th, I had a paratransit board meeting, nothing to report. On the 26th, I had an RT board meeting, nothing to report. And this morning, I sat in on sanitation district interviews to try and find a replacement for our outgoing district engineer. And that's it. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Councilmember Soon.
Thank you, Mayor. I'll be brief as well. On the 15th, we had a SACOG board meeting, and Madam Mayor, I defer to you for the details, but we also, as you know, had our last COVID task force meeting. Thank you.
Vice Mayor Nguyen.
Thank you, ma'am. I'm going to follow Councilmember Spies and waive my report.
All right. Well, I'm not. I've got a lot to report. Just real quickly, I attended the IRIS Awards, the CSD 2x2, a SMUD meeting. I participated in the careers in public service along with many people in our city, Sacramento Metro Air, Library Authority. Also proudly hosted a healing circle last Friday with CSD Director Rod Brewer. We had about 40 people that attended. It was at the Laguna Town Hall. And then this past Saturday, hosted a candlelight vigil, as I mentioned earlier, for the victims of the Indianapolis mass shooting. Many of you know 4 of the victims were Sikh Americans. So it was apropos to hold it at the Singin Car Park, which I just want to do just a shout out to everybody that was involved in putting that together. I hope that the community is watching those videos on our website as well as the CSD. They are beautifully produced, and it took a tragedy to get to the Singing Car Park. But as a Sikh American, we believe in something called Chardi Kala. Chardi Kala means eternal optimism. So this park really provides healing and eternal optimism for our community. But it's also a reminder that we still have 2 unsolved murders, and hoping with the attention to the Singing Car Park that we will bring greater attention and maybe get a tip that will lead us to the apprehension of the perpetrators that took the lives of Mr. Atwal and Mr. Singh. And then, of course, the Economic Recovery Task Force was on Monday. We have our final report coming up to present. Just want to thank everybody that has been part of the task force. Excellent, just a dynamic group of people. I won't go into the details of that. I do have a request from the family and friends of Ms. Irene B. West. As you all know, we lost just a pioneer and a trailblazer in the city of Elk Grove. She was our first Black American who was our first teacher, and then went on to be a successful administrator and principal. She was taken from us last week, and in her honor, the community has asked for a resolution that is a memorial resolution. We have the language, and just want to let the council know that I'm planning on moving that forward so that we can present that during the viewing. There's a viewing next week, and then the funeral services are also next week. So it is time sensitive, but it's an honor and recognition of all of the tremendous contributions that Irene B. West had, not only in the city of Elk Grove, but of course, Elk Grove Unified School District, but her impact goes beyond our borders. She was just a truly an amazing, amazing human being. I don't know if any of you had an opportunity to ever meet with her, but just a positive light taken from us. So just may her memory be a blessing. But there's a resolution at the request of the families that I will be presenting to Mr. Lindgren so that I have it available for my 2-minute video that the families asked for me to produce on behalf of the city and as a former trustee with Elk Grove Unified School District. If you have any questions on the resolution, Mr. Lindgren can share a copy. But it's a beautiful tribute to a wonderful human being. With that, that concludes my report. We can move on to the next item.
That will take us to section 8, the consent calendar items.
All right, I would like to open the public comment opportunity.
And Mayor, Vice Mayor, and council members, we did not receive any prior written public comments on the consent calendar items, and we're taking a view over our participant attendee list here on Zoom. And if we do have any speakers that wish to speak on consent, now is the time to use that raise hand function under section 8 for the consent calendar items. And again, for our phone caller, that would be *9 function on your phone in order to dial in for public comment under section 8 consent calendar items. Going once, going twice, and I don't see anyone with a raise hand function on the consent calendar items.
All right, then I will close the public comment opportunity and look for a motion to approve our consent calendar.
Motion.
Move consent.
Second.
We have a motion and a second.
With the motion and the second, I will start the roll call vote with Councilmember Spies.
Aye.
Councilmember Hume.
Aye.
Councilmember Suen.
Aye.
Vice Mayor Nguyen.
Yes.
And Mayor Singh Allen.
Yes.
The consent calendar items will pass 5-0.
All right, next item, please.
Take us on to section 9, our public hearings, starting with item 9.1, which is a public hearing to consider a resolution approving a conditional use permit, major design review, minor uniform sign program, and amendment to the bicycle, pedestrian, and trails master plan for the Trojan Storage 2 project located at the northwest corner of Bighorn Boulevard and Lewis Stein Road.
Good evening, Mayor Singh Allen and council members. Sarah Kirch-Gessner, Planning. The project before you tonight, the Trojan Storage Project, consists of a conditional use permit and major design review for a mixed-use facility that
To
includes
jump in, Sarah, before you go too much further, can you expand out your, to go full screen with your PowerPoint? Right now, we're seeing a lot of your majestic views on your desktop. But if you
Sorry
can
about
expand
that.
out your PowerPoint to kind of a full view screen, that would be great. Looking good.
Okay, great. Thank you for that.
Mhm.
The Trojan Storage Project consists of a conditional use permit and major design review for a mixed-use facility that includes a personal storage facility and flex warehouse space, along with associated site improvements, including parking and landscaping. The project also includes a minor uniform sign program and an amendment to the city's bicycle, trails, and pedestrian master plan to realign a proposed multipurpose trail. The Planning Commission reviewed the project on April 1st. The Commission appreciated the mixed-use tenant spaces for small businesses. The Commission questioned Planning and Public Works staff about the proposed relocation of the trail. Staff explained the benefits of the relocation, which reduces environmental and biological impacts, reduces acquisition needs, and eliminates mid-block crossings for increased safety. The Commission supported the proposed relocation and voted 5-0 to recommend City Council approval of the project, with the addition of a condition to revise the rear elevation of Building C during the building permit process. The project is located at the northwest corner of Bighorn Boulevard and Lewis Stein Road. The project site, which is undeveloped, is located to the south of the Laguna Creek bypass channel with vacant land to the east and west. To the south is single-family residential development, which backs up to Bighorn Boulevard and is surrounded by a 6-foot masonry wall. The general plan land use plan identifies 2 land use designations within the project site, including Employment Center and Resource Management and Conservation. The project site also has 2 zoning districts, MP, which is Industrial Office Park, as well as open space. There is no development proposed within the open space portion of the project site. Personal storage facilities are a conditionally permitted use in the MP zone. The project is consistent with the applicable development standards of the municipal code, as well as the design guidelines. The project includes a request to construct an approximately 200,000 square foot mixed use facility with 3 buildings. Building A includes leasing and management offices, as well as storage space. Building B is a 2-story building which fronts on Bighorn Boulevard and is comprised of flex warehouse spaces, as well as storage on both the first and second floors. Building C is a 1-story building located in the rear of the site that contains only self-storage units. Here's the proposed site plan. To the pedestrians and drivers on Bighorn Boulevard, Building B will appear to be an office building. According to the applicant, these flex warehouse spaces will provide a unique and sought-after workspace to a vast array of tenants, such as small businesses, startups, and sole proprietors serving the community. These tenants often seek out flex warehouse spaces, as these spaces offer flexible leases at lower entry rates. The flex warehouse spaces range in size from 500 square feet to 1,220 square feet for up to 32 potential tenants. Tenants will have access to the property 7 days a week from 6 to 9 p.m. Tenant access to the facility will be controlled by a secured gate with more than 32 high-definition cameras, which are mounted throughout the facility, recording 24 hours a day. Staff believes that the proposed mixed-use facility would have minimal impacts on the surrounding neighborhood, and the project is compatible with the surrounding land uses. Here's a map of the existing and planned personal storage facilities in Elk Grove. There are not any other storage facilities in the immediate vicinity of the project site. The project provides a 21-foot dedication along the north side of Bond Road, as required by the city, to accommodate the planned extension of light rail transit, which would run along the middle of Bighorn Boulevard adjacent to the project site. The project proposes 2 new driveways, one on Bighorn and one on Lewisstein Road. The project also proposes to relocate the proposed multi-purpose trail on the site to the landscape corridor, which I will discuss in more detail later in the presentation. Here are the proposed elevations. They include both 1-story and 2-story elements, as well as a number of parapets and varying roof lines with glass windows and doors. Building facades will be treated with a variety of materials, including concrete block walls in alternating colors, corrugated metal panels in gray and white, a Trojan red cornice with blue accents, and blue roll-up doors. The project includes a request for an amendment to the city's bicycle, pedestrian, and trails master plan. As depicted in figure 5.1 of the plan, a proposed class 1 multipurpose trail is depicted from Lewisstein Road to Bruceville Road along the south side of the Laguna Creek bypass channel running through the middle of the project site. The plan also includes a mid-block crossing at Lewisstein Road. The project applicant proposes to relocate the trail alignment from the middle of the site to the landscape corridor along Bighorn Boulevard. The proposed trail section includes a 10-foot paved trail with 6 feet of landscaping on the south side adjacent to the right-of-way and 2 feet of decomposed granite on both sides of the trail. The proposed project, as well as the Laguna Creek Trail and Bruceville Road Sidewalk Improvement Project, was presented to the Trails Committee in September of 2020. The Trails Committee did not support the proposed relocation of the trail and voted 5-0 to keep the alignment along the south side of the Laguna Creek, north of the Trojan storage. However, the Planning Commission did recommend approval of the proposed relocation due to the size and configuration of the project site, the location of the future light rail corridor on Bighorn, increased safety, as well as off-site environmental constraints along the Laguna Creek bypass channel. This exhibit shows the project's trail relocation and the impact to the overall Laguna Creek trail alignment. The current trail alignment is shown in red and is proposed to run between seasonal wetlands and vernal pools. The revised trail alignment, which is shown in purple on the north side of Bighorn, would avoid these environmental constraints. The relocation of the trail reduces environmental constraints and acquisition needs, coordinates better with the future light rail, and provides safer crossings by eliminating 2 mid-block crossings at both Bruceville and Lewisstein Road. Additionally, there are potential cost savings to the city from the realignment. The project includes a uniform sign program, which is compliant with the Title 23 of the Development Standards for Signage. No further environmental review is required under CEQA pursuant to CEQA guidelines. The Planning Commission recommended approval of the project 5-0. I'm available for questions. The applicants, Brett Henry and Dimitri Dabrowski, are available, as well as the Thad Johnson representing the property owner. Thank you.
All right, thank you for that presentation. I will declare the public hearing open and open the public comment opportunity.
I think before we move to direct public comment, we have an opportunity for the applicant, and I think we have Mr. Lined up and ready to go. I think his audio is active, so please proceed, Mr. Henry.
Great. Thank you all. Thank you for having me. I will try to keep my voice up. I had spinal surgery 8 days ago, so I am my voice may go in and out a little, but my name is Brett Henry. I'm the owner and developer of the project. Thank you for having me. We have another project down in the southeast end of Elk Grove that we purchased in 2015 and actually expanded last year. We've got 30 storage facilities from really San Diego to Seattle, and we've got 4 other facilities in the general Sacramento area. We're really a family-owned business. We take a lot of pride in what we do, and we're really, really excited about this project. I think Sarah summed it up really well, but we spent a lot of time with staff working on both for really first a use that really kind of fit this space and really activated it. And after a couple different renditions, we came to this flex use and self-storage mixed use project. And with the flex space on the front of the project, it's not only going to activate this, these are going to be office and kind of flex spaces that are really going to be pitched directly to Elk Grove residents. They're going to be streamlined, easy to lease, short, medium, long-term, flexible, and going up and down in size. And that's so important to your small business, because anyone who's tried to lease 2, 3, 4, 5,000 square feet of office space, it's complicated. It's a big commitment financially. And we're really going to give your entrepreneurs, they're going to be attorneys, CPAs, insurance branches, audio video equipment companies, light contractors. We've had engineers in these type of uses where people need, an office space for 2, 3 people, or even kind of a rotating office. And in all of our experience, the people that rent these spaces are always within a few miles of the facility. And this type of building just fundamentally really doesn't exist in the city, especially the quality that we're going to do. And the quality really comes from not only our desire to build, beautiful buildings, but working with the staff. We spent a lot of time really refining something that we thought, again, would activate that space and be, that modern, really just great building right on Bighorn. The self-storage was designed to be behind that flex space. It's going to be state-of-the-art. So it'll be climate control on the inside, which again is an amenity that a lot of storage facilities don't offer. It'll be, energy efficient, meaning all of the lights, every single light in the facility will be on its own individual motion sensor. We'll have controlled access gates where you put in your own code. That lets us know who comes on the property from 6 a.m. to 9 p.m. when they can access their unit. And it actually, that entering their code or using our app, there's actually a secondary lock on their door that deactivates. And that lets us know every time a storage door gets rolled up and down. And if someone doesn't use their app or doesn't use the keypad and their door goes up, an alarm goes off. And it's all recorded in our system. We do all this with the 50 cameras and great staff to really make sure we have a controlled, safe, beautiful facility. 70% of our renters typically are women. We really want everyone to feel nice and safe when they're on one of my properties. I really think that's all I have to say. I'm here for any questions that you have, and really appreciate the time and excited to be here. And on a note, your staff was wonderful to work with. We've now gotten to know each other pretty well, and without their help, we wouldn't be sitting here. So thank you all, and look forward to any questions that you might have.
Great, thank you, sir. Now I will open up the public comment opportunity.
And before we go too much further, Mayor, I just wanted to put out the offer. There is Mr. Dabrowski and Mr. Johnson, who are also part of the applicant team.
Oh, okay.
I'm going to touch base with the applicant team if those individuals have anything to say at the opening here.
Sounds good.
And I think, sorry, I'll be looking to staff. We may want to unmute Mr. Dabrowski and Mr. Johnson just to see if they have comments.
Jason, this is Thad Johnson. We don't have any additional comments. Thank you.
Excellent. We'll touch base with you on the other side of public comment on this item as well. But with that, Mayor, Vice Mayor, and Council members, for item 9.1, we did not receive any prior written comments on the item, but we do have a few members of the public who have signed up to speak on this item. So we'll start pulling them into the environment now.
Sharon Anderson, you may unmute your mic. You have 3 minutes.
Hello, Mayor and City Council members. Thank you for letting me speak on this item. As you know, I'm a member of the Trails Committee, and you saw that the Trails Committee voted 5-0 to not approve of the realignment of the trail around the property, because the whole purpose of having a trail is to actually have a trail and not to be on a street. So one of the things that I wanted to point out is had anybody come back to us, we would have given up the mid-block crossing in order to keep the trail. So nobody came back to us, and nobody actually presented our information to the Planning Commission on our behalf, or played a recording, or even asked us to come and speak at the Planning Commission meeting so that we could explain our rationale to hopefully work things out in advance. This project is on a creek, and creeks are our last beautiful amenities in the city of Elk Grove. We don't have much space left along our creek sides, and to have a storage facility, as much as they're painting it as being beautiful, is still a storage facility. I mean, in this situation, I wish I had paid attention to the zoning years ago on the general plan, because industrial manufacturing and all of that does not belong along a creek. Creeks, think San Antonio, think Riverwalk, think what's happening in West Sacramento, think the Sacramento River, what's happening. People are realizing that that's where people want to congregate. They want to recreate. They want to see nature. They want to have a restaurant there. They want to have open space, but this was not that. And we had actually agreed to, if they would keep the trail along the, even though this project is not a favorable one in my eyes, we would have angled the trail to make better sense to fit in with future light rail for whenever that's going to happen. We gave options to the project applicant and to the property owner on how this could work. I just wanted to let you know that that is the reasoning behind, and I know people were on me for not speaking at the Planning Commission or presenting our views of why we voted against this. So just so you know, think about that. And maybe it's time to give direction to staff to start making better use of our remaining open space along creek sides, to not just be a place for a storage yard. I mean, sorry, it just doesn't fit for me. So thank you for letting me speak on that.
Thank you, Ms. Anderson. Next caller.
Bruce Jordan, you may unmute your mic. You have 3 minutes.
Good evening, members of the council. My name is Bruce Jordan. I'm the architect for the project. I've been working with Brett Henry and Dimitri for quite some time on this project. I did want to compliment your staff. They've been wonderful to work with. I think this is a great example of what happens when you put a working team together with a great staff and good things result. I will keep this very brief, but I did want to say that, the storage facility is a very needed part of every community. Businesses, homes, churches, governments, doctors, lawyers, you name it, they all use these. They're part of the fabric of a community. What we did here, integrating the flex space, really enhanced the use. It's going to open up a lot of opportunity to the local community. This is not outside Elk Grove. This is for Elk Grove. That's who the demographics are for. When we first set out to design this facility, one of the key elements was to make sure that all of the loading activity was screened. So that's why we wrapped the buildings with glass around the outside to screen all the loading activity. Now, the other benefit of this facility is that it's categorized by very low trip generation. Closed at night, quiet, slow on crime. As you heard Mr. Henry mention, there's going to be like 50 cameras. It's going to be more security than a lot of banks have. So this is going to be a quiet, peaceful project that's used by the local community. Again, everything's all screened from public view and so forth. When you look at the environmental benefit of relocating the trails away from those vernal pools, there was a reason to relocate that trail. So I would ask that the council look at that. And again, to the residential community, there's no light bleed over from this project. It's all shielded. Lights are not on at night. It's a quiet, peaceful use for residential neighborhoods. So with that, I'll conclude, and I'll be available to answer any questions if you have any.
Thank you. We'll go on to our next caller.
And currently, we're not displaying any additional members of the public that are interested. And I did just want to put it out there for Mr. Jordan that you have the opportunity as part of the applicant team to not have a timer run on you. So if the applicant team, all of you have that opportunity for another time for closing comments on this. But just to put it out there, we have one phone caller. It's *9 is the function. If you are here to talk on item 9.1, now is your opportunity. But with the remaining balance of our attendees in the audience, I think that's going to conclude our public comment on item 9.1.
All right, thank you, sir. So we will go ahead and close the public comment opportunity, and I'd like to invite the applicant back to offer any additional comments in relation to some of the public, at least one of the public comments that you've heard, and anything else you want us to consider.
Yeah, hi. Thank you. This is Brett Henry, and I'll let Thad jump in as the owner's rep if he needs to. But you know, we did work with city staff a lot and on this trail issue. You know, obviously we have a pretty big takings in the front of the property with the dedication for the light rail, and then to have another takings in the back from the trail just really meant there wasn't much we could do for this project. And I think by the time we all worked through putting the trail right in the front of a beautifully landscaped area, using crosswalks to cross at the street, staff concluded not only is it a better location because it's going to be less expensive for the city to finish the trail, but it's going to be a lot safer for the public. Plus it's going to get built now. You know, I'll see if Thad wants to add anything to that, but we did work with everybody on this, and it was an issue, but I think we came to a great conclusion that staff agrees with, that the planning commission agreed with, and I hope you all do as well. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Henry. Mr. Johnson, did you want to offer some additional insight?
Good evening, Madam Mayor, members of the council. Yes, Thad Johnson, the property owner. We've owned the property for nearly 25 years. As I'm sure you're aware, we've developed extensive properties along the creek corridor. In fact, we've dedicated much of the creek corridor and developed much of the trail system that runs along the corridor on both sides of Laguna Boulevard. And we value that trail corridor. However, with this property, having already dedicated approximately 30% of the land to open space, its configuration and constraints and the city's need for the additional right-of-way for the future light rail line, this property was virtually rendered undevelopable without that trail relocation. And with that trail relocation, there will actually be a trail. There's no trail there currently, and there would not be a trail if the property does not develop. So we would never have that connectivity. We value Ms. Anderson's comments and her commitment to the trail community. But in this particular instance, we would not be able to develop this property and install a trail but for the relocation.
Thank you, Mr. Johnson. Were there any other applicant team members that wanted to speak? Mr. Lindgren, do you have any hands raised?
We don't have any hands raised, but it would just be whether Mr. Dabrowski or Mr. Bruce Jordan wish to have any final comments.
This is Brett Henry. I think we're all set. Thank you guys very much.
All right, so hearing no further desire to speak, I will declare the public hearing closed and open it up for council deliberations and direction. I do want to just ask, or at least state 4 things here that I heard from our applicants, which I think is important to reiterate. It was on one of our staff reports, one of the slides. I don't know if it was on the presentation. I don't remember seeing it just now. But in the staff report, there's 4 points, and the applicants address those. So I'm just going to reiterate them for the record. On the benefits of a trail relocation, 1, reduces environmental and biological impacts. 2, reduces the number of right of way. Sometimes I can't even read my own handwriting. Acquisition needed, coordinates better with the future light rail, which is an important aspect. The other aspect that was raised this evening is creating safer crossing locations by eliminating mid-block crossings at Bruceville Road and Lewis Stein Road. So I think those are important components. I appreciate the applicants mentioning that. It is on our staff report for anybody in the viewing public that wants to see it. Clearly outlined under benefits of trail relocation. Other questions from my colleagues? I can go down the list. or just unmute. All right,
No.
Councilmember Hume.
Yeah, hi, Mayor. Thank you. And thank you for those clarifications regarding the trail. I don't have anything further to input on that other than that Sharon Anderson knows I think the world of her and agree that the creeks are a natural amenity to be valued and cherished within the city. And if this were a larger parcel in a different location, I would be right there standing shoulder to shoulder with you. But for the reasons you just cited, I can accept the relocation. But I would like to just congratulate the applicant, particularly Mr. Henry. I know that when this project was first brought forward in its original iteration, staff pushed back pretty aggressively, given that this is the future potential light rail corridor and wanting a higher activation of use, given also that we own the parcel to the west and are looking to develop that potentially as affordable housing. And I think the solution where they've arrived is a good one that fills a need that is not being filled in the city. And I can envision artists, craftspeople, contractors that need to show examples of their work, but also want to have, kind of that receptive interface with potential clients, that this is an exciting need for niche businesses. And so, it's a tough parcel. Obviously, as was mentioned, there's a lot of the usability being given up to the open space, and so I just again want to reiterate that I support the flexibility and thinking creatively and coming forward with a use that I think is going to be a benefit for the residents of Elk Grove.
Thank you, Councilmember Hume. Councilmember Sue, I see your hand raised.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Having worked on my share of site plans in the past, I can say too with confidence, this is a challenging site. And for all the reasons that were stated earlier, after you net out the open space area. So I recognize the challenge both from the landowner's perspective in finding a suitable tenant and the desire of the community that we heard Ms. Anderson state, whose opinion I respect greatly as well. And I'd have to agree with Councilmember Hume. I mean, if we had we as a city, we might assign zoning, but we don't necessarily choose the shapes of the parcels. And so every once in a while you have one that doesn't, is it somewhat difficult to work with. So I applaud the applicant for, going back to the drawing board and trying to meet the needs of the community and come up with something innovative like they're presenting here today. So I support this project. I think it will, the quietness in the evenings, I think will blend well with the affordable housing site to the northwest, I guess, when we get that built. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Councilmember Spies.
Yeah, so I would certainly align myself with Councilmember Hume's position relative to the trails. But I do also want to recognize that this project, I think is fantastic given the mixed use. There is a lot of focus on maker spaces and opportunities for small manufacturing, areas. And I think this provides that, right? That provides the college student who needs some space locally to get things done, but can't do it in their garage. So I like this and I'm ready to support the project.
Thank you, sir. Vice Mayor Nguyen.
Thank you, ma'am. I'll be quick. I agree with everything that was said. With every project, especially this one, at some point I thought it wasn't going to work out, but there's compromise, there's been adjustments, there's been changes, and for the good. What you heard is that the developer and the applicant has said numerous times that our staff was really good to work with, and that is because they found a way to make it work. I went to the Austin study mission several years ago, and I saw something similar to this. And this is something that I brought back to staff saying, this is what we need to do in our city. And I'm really happy to see that this is something similar to what I saw at Austin study mission, is that it was a mixed use of storage and housing and businesses and commercial and whatnot. And so I think Councilmember Soon moved it, if I was correct, and I'll go ahead and second it if that was a motion, Councilmember Soon.
Yes.
I don't know that I heard a motion.
Yes, I'm sorry. That was a motion. Thank you.
Okay. We've got one on the record and a second on the record. Anything further, Vice Mayor Nguyen?
Nope, that was it.
Okay, excellent. I had an opportunity to meet with the applicant yesterday, and it was important for me to reiterate the benefits of the trail relocation. I'm a strong proponent of mixed-use projects. I think that it shows how well the applicant worked with our city in coming up with something that's truly going to be a community benefit. I do have one question. I saw it on the staff report that came up during the Planning Commission meeting. There was a concern about the red color. Is there any efforts to perhaps change that to something that blends with the surrounding area? That was something I saw raised at the Planning Commission. So I do have that outstanding question. Sarah?
Thank you, Sarah Kurtz-Gessner, Planning. It is included as a condition of approval specifically for the rear elevation of Building C, and the applicant has been supportive of removing that red color on that elevation.
Okay, excellent. All right. I have no further questions. Thank you again for that presentation, and to the applicants. We have a motion and a second, so I'll turn it over to our clerk.
And with that motion and a second, I will start the roll call vote, starting with Councilmember Spies.
Aye.
Councilmember Hume.
Aye.
Councilmember Suen.
Aye.
Vice Mayor Nguyen.
Aye.
And Mayor Singh Allen.
Aye.
The resolution of item 9.1 will pass 5-0.
All right, thank you and congratulations. We will now go on to our next item.
The next item is item 9.2, which is actually two public hearings to consider. First, the 20th annexation to Street Maintenance District 1, Zone 5Q, and the 39th annexation to Stormwater Drainage Fee, Zone 2.
Jason, can you see my screen?
You can, if you just want to go to full screen mode. Right now, it's in that kind of design mode on PowerPoint. There you are.
Perfect. Good evening, Madam Mayor and council members. Renee Attar, Finance Analyst here this evening with the presentation for proposed annexations into the city's special tax districts. This slide is probably looking a little familiar now. The city maintains 8 special tax districts, which provide funding for infrastructure or for services such as for police, maintenance, street lighting, and stormwater drainage. Annexations into the appropriate districts are typically part of a project's approval process. The requirements are specific for each project and vary according to the geographic location and building use. The special taxes are subject to annual rate adjustments. Tonight, there are 2 projects that are being proposed for annexations into the following 2 special tax districts. The first is Street Maintenance District 1, which provides funding for local collector and arterial street maintenance services. And the second is for Stormwater Drainage Fee Zone 2, which provides for stormwater drainage and runoff maintenance. Both of these assessments will be levied in perpetuity. More specifically about the projects, the first project proposed for annexation is Hyundai of Elk Grove, which consists of a little over 5 acres, 5 non-residential acres located in the southern part of the Elk Grove Auto Mall, which is southwest of Elk Grove Boulevard and Highway 99. The project is located in the Laguna Ridge district, but does not require annexation because the parcels were included within the boundaries of the district when the district was created. And then the second project is for U-Haul storage facility, which consists of 10 non-residential acres located at the intersection of Elk Grove, Florin Road, and Highway 99. This project also is annexed into Maintenance Services CFD 2006-1, or was annexed into that district subsequently after the district was created in 2006. And with that, that concludes my presentation. I'm available for any questions.
All right, thank you for that. I will declare the public hearing for SMD 5 Annex 20 open, and now open the public comment opportunity.
And Mayor, Vice Mayor, and council members, there were no written comments received prior to the meeting on the first part of item 9.2 for Zone 5Q. And we do not have anyone of our attendees that are here raising their hands. So that will conclude the public comment on the first part of item 9.2 for Street Maintenance District Zone 5Q.
All right, I will close the public comment opportunity and declare the public hearing for SMD 5 Annex 20 closed. And I would like to request the clerk to provide the results of the ballot tabulation.
There is no majority protest. Of 6 possible votes weighted according to the proportional financial obligation for the property, 6 affirmative votes were returned. The ballot approves the proposed assessment and the proposed inflation adjustment limit described for the parcels identified in the ballot. Resolution determining the levy assessments in the district is available for council consideration.
All right, thank you. Do we have any questions or comments? Are we ready to proceed with a motion?
On motion 1, to adopt the resolution.
Second. We have a motion.
Second.
And I think a second. Vice Mayor Nguyen.
The motion and the second, I will commence with the roll call vote, starting with Councilmember Spies.
Aye.
Councilmember Hume.
Aye.
Councilmember Suen.
Aye.
Vice Mayor Nguyen.
Aye.
And Mayor Singh Allen.
Aye.
And that resolution will be adopted by 5-0 vote. That will take us on to our second public hearing.
Thank you.
And I think with that, this is just, these were covered by staff in the presentation. So Mayor, this just opens up the next public hearing. So
sounds good. Then I will declare the public hearing for SWDF Annex 39 open and open the public comment opportunity.
And again, no written comments were received for this segment of item 9.2 and of our attendees in the Zoom environment. And checking my comms, I do not have anyone signed up to speak on this item as well. That will conclude the public comment.
Excellent. Then I will close the public comment opportunity and declare the public hearing for SWDF Annex 39 closed. And I would like to request the clerk to provide the results of the ballot tabulation.
And there is no majority protest. Of 10 possible votes weighted according to the proportional financial obligation for each property, 10 affirmative votes were returned. The ballot approves the proposed assessment and the proposed inflation adjustment limit described for the parcels identified in the ballot. A resolution determining the levy assessments in the district is available for council consideration.
All right, excellent. If council does not have any questions or comments, I will entertain a motion.
Motion 2.
Second.
All right, we have a motion and a second.
And that roll call vote on motion 2, I will start with Councilmember Spies.
Aye.
Member Hume.
Aye.
Councilmember Suen.
Aye.
Vice Mayor Nguyen.
Aye.
And Mayor Singh Allen.
Aye.
And the resolution of motion 2 under item 9.2 will pass 5-0.
All right, excellent. We will go ahead and move to our next item.
Take us to section 10, our regular agenda action items and recommendations, starting with item 10.1, which is to receive a presentation regarding results of the Laguna West Revy Geotechnical Evaluation Report and provide direction to staff.
All right, thanks, Jason. Are you seeing my screen?
Indeed, presentation is up and your audio is coming through clear. Please proceed.
All right, perfect. Thank you. Good evening, Mayor Singh Allen, Vice Mayor Nguyen, and members of the City Council. My name is Amitash Sandy, Engineering Services Support Manager in the Public Works Department. The item before you tonight is an update regarding the 200-year floodplain. I would like to start off by providing a brief background regarding this item. In 2007, the California legislature passed Senate Bills 5 and 1278, which required cities and counties to amend general plans and zoning regulations to address 200-year flooding. In 2016, the city adopted an amendment to the safety element of the general plan to prohibit the approval of building permits, entitlements, or parcel maps within the 200-year floodplain unless they provided 200-year urban level of flood protection, ULOP. The city also adopted an amendment to Elk Grove Municipal Code Title 23 to include both 100-year and 200-year floodplains. And finally, the city added Chapter 16.50 to the Elk Grove Municipal Code. The existing levee system, as shown on this exhibit, comprises of approximately 4.5 miles of levees. The levees serve as a perimeter levee system consisting of 4 levee segments, extending from the Apple campus to Laguna Boulevard, Laguna Boulevard to Elk Grove Boulevard, Elk Grove Boulevard to the city's storm drain pump station located adjacent to Natoli Park. And the final segment extends from this pump station to the storm drain pump station located on Elk Grove Boulevard. The exhibit shown here reflects the 200-year floodplain, and the blue shaded areas represent areas with flood depths greater than 3 feet. It is important to note that areas with less than 3 feet of flood depth are exempt from SB 5 requirements. I'd also like to mention that the 200-year floodplain does not have a direct relationship with FEMA National Flood Insurance Program requirements, and the levees currently provide properties with 100-year flood protection as defined by FEMA. I would also like to point out that based on additional GIS analysis that was conducted recently, there are actually currently 14 undeveloped parcels located within the 200-year floodplain, not the 26 that are shown in the staff report. In 2018, MBK engineers completed a problem identification report, and the results of the report were presented to council. The report identified that the levee system would need to be raised by approximately 3.5 feet to meet urban level design criteria, and construction cost at the time was estimated to be in the range of $22 to $45.2 million. The reason for the wide range in costs was due to the unknown was due to the unknown cost associated with a potential under seepage of the levees. Pursuant to council direction, in 2019, MBK engineers updated hydraulic analysis and 200-year water surface elevations and floodplain depths. In 2019, council also directed staff to move forward with geotechnical analysis required to assess the integrity of the levee system and refine cost estimates. AECOM recently completed the geotechnical evaluation report, which concluded that there are no major structural deficiencies with the levees. The report is attached to your council packet. Pursuant to results of the report, the project costs were updated, and the updated construction cost to raise and extend the levee system is now approximately $17.1 million. The total estimate project cost is about $31 million, which includes soft costs such as engineering and design, environmental, right-of-way acquisition, and construction management. The slide here summarizes that the city is compliant with SB 5 and 1278. Title 23 of the Elk Grove Municipal Code prohibits approval of development in the 200-year floodplain unless the development has met one or more of the following findings. The project has urban level of flood protection, or ULOP. Conditions imposed on the project will provide for ULOP. Adequate progress has been made toward construction of a levee protection system to provide ULOP for the project, or the project is a site improvement that would not result in the development of a new habitable structure. At this time, staff recommends that council direct staff to continue to pursue grant and regional partnership opportunities to fund a feasibility study. The feasibility study would include analyses such as hydrology and hydraulics, wind and wave runup, environmental, real estate, and right-of-way needs. If so desired, council could direct staff to analyze the formation of a new assessment district, which could fund levee improvements. This would necessitate that a study be completed to identify the scope of the project, cost of improvements, and the parcels that would need to be taxed to support it. In addition, the formation of a new assessment district would require an election, which would entail the city incurring additional costs to run the election, and these costs are unknown at this time, but could be significant. Council could also direct staff to not move forward with improvements to the levees and continue to enforce requirements per Elk Grove Municipal Code Title 23, as shown in the previous slide. And finally, council could direct staff to proceed with a feasibility study mentioned earlier and fund the study using the city's drainage fund. That concludes my presentation, and staff is available to answer any questions you may have.
All right, excellent. I will open the public comment opportunity.
And Prior to the meeting, we did not receive any written comments on item 10.1. And as I review both my comms and then our Zoom environment, I do not see any members of the public that are using the raise hand function in order to speak on this item. So that will conclude the public comment on item 10.1.
All right, thank you. Then I will close the public comment opportunity and open it up for council questions and offer direction to staff. I will go ahead and start with Council Member Spies. Oh, sorry, we'll start with Council Member Soon because his hand's raised.
Thank you, Madam Mayor.
Thank you.
Amitaj, thanks for the information and good, very good presentation. A lot of detail involved in that, and you did it very well, summing it all up. I just had a question. You mentioned about the 18 parcels over in that area. What and I also remember there's I believe there's a multifamily project that's coming forward. So how will those be addressed if they're not able to meet the ULOP requirements, and probably be challenged to provide its own protection for its own project?
So what's happening, I can speak on the multifamily, I think the one you just mentioned. So we are requiring them that they cannot have any habitable space on the first floor. So they're putting garages on the first floor, elevating the habitable space above the 200-year floodplain. So that first floor is protected from those flood waters. So that's how we've handled that specific project. And so we will take it by project basis, but that would be the plan on those new developments in those areas. And like I said, they're very limited. We have about 14 parcels that are undeveloped at this time.
Thank you. That's good to hear. And so the depth of flooding in your inundation maps and your event is what, about maybe 3-5 feet? What's your depth of flooding?
Yeah, for those parcels, we're looking at about 3 to 5 feet is what they are.
Okay, so that's good to know for the public to hear. Is we're not talking about, like Natomas, like a 20-foot wall of flooding if from the Sacramento River. This is much less than that.
Right, that is correct.
Okay, thank you. And I also am pleased to hear the findings from the geotech report that we don't have under seepage to worry about, and with the freeboard, it's maybe a freeboard issue, but the levee itself is built correctly. Unlike a lot of the levees historically were built on really bad material that caused a lot of seepage that would cause it to fail. In this case, we have a lot of clays that aren't susceptible to liquefaction in a seismic event. So we're in much better shape than the levees that we're dealing with up in the Sacramento region, is what I'm hearing.
That is correct. Okay. And these are fairly newer levees, so based on that and the analysis that was performed, their structurally integrity is up to par, and like you said, no issues with under seepage, which is great news.
Yeah, great, thank you. And lastly, I'll just say, because these levees are of a local concern, it'd be very difficult to obtain state or federal funding without having an earmark, which coincidentally the Congress is just going forward with again. So I'm pleased to see a recommendation in there too. But if we can pursue federal funding or any types of grants that would help in this regard, that would be very good.
Yeah, we're currently looking into Cal OES has a hazard mitigation grant, so we're looking into those grants and some other, the BRIC grant and some of the others provided by FEMA and Cal OES.
Great, thank you very much. That's all, Mayor. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilmember Spies, any questions or comments?
I don't have any questions or comments. I do support staff's recommendation.
Thank you, sir. Councilmember Hume?
No questions or comments. I just thank Amitaj for the report, support the recommendation, and I pray that we don't have to wait 200 years until we can get just a little bit of flooding. Just a little bit.
Right.
Vice Mayor Nguyen?
No comments. Support staff recommendation.
I too support staff recommendations. Thank you for your presentation, Amitaj. And again, thank you, Councilmember Soon, for your thoughtful questions. It's one of the reasons why it's just great having an engineer on our council to really think through some of those things that some of us may not necessarily know to ask. So I appreciate your questions and comments. So you have a night, to move forward with staff recommendations. So thank you again for your time. You're on mute, but I think I saw a nod.
Thank you. Thanks.
Okay, sounds good. All right. We will now move on to our next item.
The next item will be item 10.2, which is receive information, provide direction regarding the allocation of fiscal year 2021-2022 event sponsorship grant program funds.
Thank you so much. Good evening, Mayor and Council members. Jody Moreno, Community Events and Special Projects Coordinator. And we're going to be talking about the 2021-22 event sponsorship grant program that we run through the city. A little bit of basics on the programs. It was started in 2012. It's supported by the general fund, and it supports a lot of nonprofits in town that hold events here in Elk Grove that benefit Elk Grove residents. It has specific criteria for each one to ensure that sponsorship funding is focused on events with citywide significance that meet city goals. I want to talk a little bit and, share condolences with a lot of our nonprofits and grantees this past year that were affected by COVID-19. It's been very challenging, as you know. For FY 2021, the last fiscal year, Council approved 33 events with cash and in-kind funding of $231,540. To date, 24 of those 33 events have canceled or postponed due to COVID-19 restrictions, totaling $207,228 going back into the general fund. And this is just a partial list of a lot of the events that have been affected by COVID-19. And we sympathize and empathize with all of the grantees. For the application process, we did release the application in mid-January. It was advertised in the Citizen. We also sent direct emails to local nonprofits, and they had to submit everything online due by February 26th. We did include a new option this year in the application that addressed potential COVID-19 restriction and alternate plans should the state go backwards in the months to come. We received 38 eligible applications, and the total amount requested exceeded $500,000. That does include cash and in-kind, which is police, public works, integrated waste. It is a multi-department review panel that evaluates all of the applications for event concept, feasibility, prior performance, attracting regional visitors, budgets, and level of impact. And these are the nonprofits and the events that we are bringing to you to move forward through the event sponsorship grant program. The total support number will be on the right. That would include any cash, public works, police, and even facility use for District 56 or Old Town Plaza. I'm not going to read them all. I'll go page by page here, but I will highlight some of the new ones. Art Grove in the Park by Artners is a new application that came in this year, where they'll be doing outdoor art shows using District 56 and the Old Town Plaza once it opens. American Legion Post 233 has added a new event for their Oktoberfest fundraiser, and that's something that we'd like to put forth this year as well. The Bill Rose Classic, we're hoping comes back. That's in early July. And this is a very important event to our swim community and to the region as a whole, as it brings a lot of visitation into town. We're hoping the Holiday of Lights Parade can come back after we had to cancel it this last year, and that's from the Elk Grove Community Council. We also have Elk Grove Fine Arts Center with their 2 applications for the Fine Arts Competition and the 11th Annual Art Tour. And the Run for Hunger has moved this year, moved dates and locations. It will be on 4th of July, and it will be starting at District 56. The Spring Mother's Day Tea is a new one this year from the Elk Grove Historical Society. In the past, they have applied for other events, and this year they're just applying for the Mother's Day Tea. The Fitter and Faster Swim Clinic unfortunately had to postpone last year, so they're trying to come back this year. Writers Conference is back. They haven't been with us for a few years now, but they are planning on coming back with a nice Writers Conference out at District 56 in tandem with a Elk Grove Arts Commission event that will be happening out there. Train and Treat is a new one this year, and that's from Fitness Without Borders, where they'll have kids do exercises if they want to have some Halloween candy. So we like that. It fits with our Join the Movement program and really encourages people to get outdoors and do some exercise. Pause for a Purpose. Last year they had applied and it was going to be their first annual fundraiser from Friends of the Elk Grove Animal Shelter. So they have applied again. And we're happy to see the Jonta Siwa group apply for Festival of Lights celebration. It is a Diwali and multi celebration, and they would be taking that on and hosting at District 56. We're hoping to see the Dickens Fair come back this year. We've all missed it over a year. And the Nigerian Independence Day celebration was a new event last year that unfortunately had to cancel. And Strauss, they have already changed and pivoted because their event was coming up this July, and because of the pre-planning, they are not doing their traditional event, and instead they're going to do a formal dinner out at District 56, and it's called the Strauss Showcase. Next steps for us is that we are recommending a total cash and in-kind allocations for the year of $275,000 and $165. And we'd love to receive direction from the council on these allocations. And then these could be approved as a part of our budget process.
Thank you, Jody, for that excellent presentation. I will open the public comment opportunity.
And Mayor, Vice Mayor, and council members, one written comment was received in relation to item 10.2, which was distributed to the full council and staff. And then we do have a speaker who has signed up with a raise hand feature to speak on this item. So we'll pull up the speaker timer and pull them into the environment and go from there.
Aaron Anderson, you may go ahead. You have 3 minutes.
Yeah, this will take 2 seconds. Well, maybe 10. Thank you, Mayor Singh Allen and staff. Thank you, Jody, for proposing again this huge list of wonderful events for the city of Elk Grove, of which the Camden Neighborhood Association has been holding Music by the Lake for many, many years. And we finally got smart and have applied for a grant. So we really appreciate the fact that it's on the list, and we hope it gets approved. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Ms. Anderson. Do we have any other callers?
I'll give it just a moment, but I think we only have a handful of attendees, but they don't have a raise hand function up. So I think that will conclude our commenters on item 10.2. Okay, then I will go ahead and close the public comment opportunity.
Madam Mayor?
Yes.
Sorry to interrupt. This is Councilmember Hume. I need to recuse myself on any discussion relative to funding the Elk Grove Regional Scholarship Foundation, as I serve on their board of directors. And so if council would be willing to take that line item separately, I'd appreciate it.
Duly noted. Thank you.
And I must step in as well and step out for the same exact reason.
For the regional scholarship?
That's correct. I'm on the Regional Scholarship Foundation board as well.
Excellent. Well, thankfully, we still have a quorum.
In that case, I'll move the item absent that.
Councilmember Suen, may I make a suggestion? You might recall, this is your city attorney, you might recall we've had this come up from time to time. I might suggest that you take the Elk Grove Scholarship matter first and have Councilmember Spees and Councilmember Hume step out and take that item first and then deal with the balance. The reason being, because if you take all the other items first, then it's pretty clear what you have left over for the scholarship. So you might take that one first, at the pleasure of the mayor and the council.
Thank you very much. I was thinking backwards. Thank you.
And John, so in a Zoom environment, do we literally, I forget when Councilmember Spees did it before, do we literally have to leave the webinar?
Yes, if you would sign off, and then I will ping you when we're ready for you again.
Bye-bye.
Okay. Yeah, they have to come back though.
Don't leave us. Okay. So we have a motion from Councilmember Sun.
I'll move that item for the Regional Scholarship Foundation.
I guess I have to second it.
We have a motion and a second.
And with the roll call vote on that, I will note that we have recusals and they are absent from the meeting environment, but starting out on that vote, we'll have a recusal from Councilmember Spees. We'll have a recusal from Councilmember Hume. And then we'll continue on with the vote to Councilmember Suen.
Aye.
Vice Mayor Nguyen.
Aye.
And Mayor Singh Allen.
Aye.
With 3-0, with the 2 recusals, that will approve the funding for the Scholarship Foundation. And now we can have our city attorney ping our council members back.
They should be back momentarily.
Environment. And they should be back soon here. We should have that concluded.
There's one.
Mr. Hume has returned.
And there we go. Welcome back, gentlemen.
Thank you, Mr. Hobbs, for being the master of arms here.
All right, we have our team back, so we have the remainder of our sponsorship grant program. Any further discussions?
I can move the remainder if.
Second.
Okay.
We have a motion and a second, and can I just add that, I'm just looking forward to attending events throughout our city. And I think all of us are getting back to that normal and being able to connect with our community in person. So it's just exciting to see this coming up on the horizon. We'll go ahead and we have a motion and a second, sir.
For that roll call vote, I will start with Councilmember Spies.
Aye.
Councilmember Hume.
Please have events. Aye.
Councilmember Suen.
Aye.
Vice Mayor Nguyen.
Aye.
And Mayor Singh Allen.
Aye.
With a 5-0, that will approve the remainder of the event sponsorship grant program funds for the upcoming year.
Thank you.
All right, thank you. So we'll move on to our next item.
That next item will be item 10.3, which is to receive information and provide direction regarding the 2021 city-produced summer events.
That would be me again. Jody Moreno, Community Events Special Projects Coordinator. Thanks for listening in on this. Like you guys all said, it would be nice to return to events. We just want to make sure that we're doing it carefully. And as you know, I don't have a presentation, but you have the staff report in front of you. You know, on April 6th, that Governor Newsom announced the plans to fully reopen California on June 15th, as long as the supply of COVID-19 vaccines was sufficient and hospitalizations were low. Californians will still have to wear masks, continue risk reduction, social distancing, et cetera. But this would potentially end the majority of restrictions and gatherings and events. So events before June 15th, as you know, last weekend we held our first in-person event in over a year. We had Fit Fest, which was great. And we had social distancing, we had masks, and we had an athlete competition. We discontinued the festival portion in order to comply with state and county guidelines. In May, we're going to present Big Truck Day, and we are reinventing that into a drive-through event at Elk Grove Park, where they'll drive through the inner loop and be able to see all the big trucks along the way and have some great goodies and giveaways. And then our Party on the Palms event in May, we don't believe we can do that and keep within social distancing guidelines. Kind of hard to keep teenagers apart at a dance party. But we have been in talks with the Youth Commission to see if there was other things that we could do to celebrate the city's younger residents. But the largest festivals and events that we hold are typically in the summer months between July and August. And planning, as you know, or don't know, takes months in advance to start doing these. So we do have an opportunity here to consider modified versions for the Salute to Red, White, and Blue and the Multicultural Festival, respectively happening in July and in August. So kind of what we wanted to do here was outline 2 options for each, just because they're so close to the opening date for California. So the Red, White, and Blue has traditionally been our largest event. We had 20,000 plus people at Elk Grove Park for a fireworks show. We've had a festival experience. We've had bands, music, vendors, food, fun, the whole bit. This year, you know, the event could return to its original format with some modifications. We would have signs encouraging and emphasizing the use of masks, because that it will still be required outside with a large gathering and event, even though the CDC this morning did change their stance on outdoor. That's only in small gatherings. So in large gatherings, people would still be required to wear a mask. We would have signs for social distancing. It would be an outdoor experience. We would have visitors come to the park. We would have fireworks, food vendors, and music. We would propose to modify some of the things that would happen. The event hours, instead of 4 to 10, we'd like to go 6 to 10. We'd want to postpone some of the other annual activities like the pie eating contest, the carnival games, and the bike parade, just to put people's minds at ease. Those are a little close quarters and kind of messy. So we thought that we would take that out and hold it off until 2022. A second option is something that staff developed prior to the governor's announcement on April 6th that he was going to reopen the state. We were trying to figure out what we were going to do this year for 4th of July. So what option number 2 would offer an alternative for residents actually at their homes, and it would suspend the fireworks show and the park experience. So across the country, I mean, the largest festival and events have been doing this. Even Mardi Gras this year asked people to do things in their home, and they called it Yardi Gras. The Rose Parade did a porch parade where they asked people to decorate their porches. So there's a lot of things like that that are doing things in a socially distanced manner, but still keeping kind of the vibe of the celebration alive. So option 2 would kind of follow in that same manner, and it would be 4th in a box. So what it would do is encourage residents to decorate their homes with patriotic decor and submit photos online, and we put it on a citywide map like we did with the Illumination Festival. We'd share it, we'd challenge other neighborhoods to decorate their homes, submit their entries, and then we would do random drawings, and we would award a decent amount of people throughout the city everything they would need to have an at-home celebration for 4th of July. And this would include gift cards for an at-home barbecue, and so they could get their sides, they could get their apple pie. It would be red, white, and blue trinkets, flags, decor, and the largest fireworks packet available at a local fireworks stand. 4th in the box would be delivered to multiple winners prior to 4th of July by city staff and or council members if they'd like to join in. And we kind of felt like this format offers the community a rallying element of celebration that maintains social distancing during the early phases of California's reopening. The cost to produce this is also significantly less than the city's annual festival. It decreases staffing needs, which could allow the police department to direct more of their resources to patrol for illegal fireworks. And just a little bit of context for what's going on in our surrounding areas. As you know, I'm sure you saw the news that the city of Davis has canceled their fireworks. Cal Expo is undecided. Rancho is looking at an in-person event, but they're limiting attendance where they typically had a lot more. They're going to limit attendance there. Roseville, Lincoln, and Auburn are shooting fireworks, but no event. The River Cats look to be moving forward with their 4th on the field, and Marysville is shooting fireworks. Truckee and Tahoe canceled this morning. And nationally, just the climate nationally, Burning Man canceled today. And there's a lot of large festivals and events that have canceled in the early summer months, not knowing. So those are the 2 options for Salute to the Red, White, and Blue. Now I'm going to talk about the Elk Grove Multicultural Festival / Diversity Month. Because the 4th Saturday in August has traditionally seen the Diversity and Inclusion Commission host the Elk Grove Multicultural Festival. Typically attracts 10,000 visitors on one day. It's filled with music, dance, food, vendors, just a great cultural diverse celebration. We had to cancel last year, and the commission instead pivoted, and they offered multiple virtual offerings throughout the month of August for Diversity Month. We did meet with them last month, and we presented 2 options to them as well. Option 1 would be to hold the festival as we have in the past on August 28th at District 56 with slight modifications that encourage the use of masks, social distancing, but maintain the opportunity for the music, the food, the dance, the vendors, etc., and a large public gathering. Option 2 was taking the elements that they traditionally have at that festival and spreading them out for a month-long experience for Diversity Month. This would include things like utilizing the weekly neighborhood markets and other outlets that we could have in town. Opportunities could include a variety of weekly cultural entertainment at the market, multiple giveaway events, a restaurant week celebration focused on cultural food in the city, an outdoor cultural art show, and a day of interfaith celebration, all of the elements they traditionally had at their festival. This option could extend the celebration into other venues within the city, and it can reduce crowd sizes by spreading it out over the month. At the April 20th Diversity and Inclusion Commission meeting, the members of the commission did opt for number 2, so they could offer a more robust Diversity Month celebration in lieu of the traditional one-day event. When we talk about risk assessment, there's always some risk associated with the return to live events. Our city could be among the first to roll out a large festival in the region following the June 15th reopening date. And just to keep in mind that the governor said that the opening date is also dependent on a sufficient supply of the vaccine as well as low hospitalization rates. So if those were to change direction, that could affect it. Alternate actions, the council could suggest alternative concepts, or we could direct us to cancel these events for 2021. And as a fiscal impact, funding comes from the general fund. The cost options for the Salute to Red, White, and Blue for option 1, a full-scale event, are around $100,455, or option 2, around $22,895. For the Multicultural Festival, if we did the full-fledged festival, it's $63,900. And if we went to a diversity month celebration, we're talking more around $44,600. And all those could be subject to change depending on what the council directs us to do.
All right, anything further, Jody?
No.
Thank you. All right, I will open the public comment opportunity at this moment.
And Mayor, Vice Mayor, and City Council members, there were no prior written comments under item 10.3. And as I'm viewing our participant list in the Zoom environment, I am not seeing any raised hands for item 10.3 for public comment. So with that, I believe that will conclude our public comment under item 10.3.
All right, then I will close the public comment opportunity and open it up for council direction. We can start with Councilmember Spies.
Okay, thanks. All right, so we're about 2.5 months away from July, right? The vaccine is readily available. We're at a point where people are needing to be convinced to take it. They should be taking it, by the way. And, we recently had loosening of restrictions on outdoor, masking. So the way I look at it, I'm in support of option 1 for both festivals, option 1 for both. If for whatever reason things get turned back, we can always make other decisions. But I think right now, let's move forward. Option 1 for both.
Thank you, sir. Councilmember Hume.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I'll start with what I consider to be the lower hanging fruit first, and that is the multicultural festival. I think given that the DEI committee puts it on, would prefer option 2, I would defer to them. If they think they can make a better experience out of a month-long celebration than trying to have everything captured within just the one festival, I would say they're the boots on the ground, so I would defer to them on that. With respect to the 4th of July, Jody, I didn't hear you present an option that would mimic what we did last year. Can you explain to me a little bit why that it would not be repeated?
Sure. It could be an option. We could shoot off fireworks and not have an event with it. We didn't opt to do exactly what we did last year, which is where we broadcast on television and offered that up to residents to watch. We get a lot of mixed feedback that, oh, I couldn't see it. I didn't know what was being shot off. They didn't know it was on TV. And we're always looking every year to try something different to try and please everyone, which is really hard with 4th of July. But that's one of the reasons that we didn't opt for the broadcast this year. However, it could be an option, right, to shoot off fireworks, and that's it. That's what some of the other cities are doing. But I think even that would require us to still be at the park, and we'd fence off the fallout zone, and people would be coming to the park. So that's the reason, though, that we didn't offer the broadcast.
Okay, I was wondering if it was not well received is why we were maybe moving away from that, and it sounds like you're confirming that to some extent. I would tend to go towards option 1. Then I agree that it is far enough away that it's tough to truly gauge where we'll be at that point, but things seem to be moving in that direction. And then I would encourage everyone to, and I've said this going back, early on in this pandemic, I would encourage everyone to be a responsible adult and suit their own comfort level. If you want to come out and wear a mask, please do that. If you want to come out and not wear a mask, please respect that some people might not appreciate that. If you want to stay home and do your own thing because it's too soon for you, I respect that completely. So I think we're at a point where we should put something on. We need to start returning to a sense of normalcy, and people need to grow up and respect their own boundaries. That's my take. Thanks.
Thank you, Councilmember Hume. Councilmember Sun.
Thank you, Mayor. First, Jody, I just want to acknowledge and thank you for all the hard work you put into these events. It takes an immense amount of planning and creativity, which I have none. So I'm so glad you're here to do it. I'll start off in the same fashion. I mean, I think the Diversity and Inclusion Commission, their recommendation preferring option 2, I would support that. I'm going to just move straight to option the 4th of July. Is that I also think they might recognize there is a lot of uncertainty out there right now. We don't know where things are going. I am optimistic. I think we'll keep moving in the right direction, but that doesn't necessarily translate into people's own, psychology and how safe that they feel. And if we have an event that there's going to be an expectation that when that event, the 4th of July event, comes forward, that it's what they remembered from before. And so if we're talking about some sort of, alternative where, okay, no pie eating contest, or, adjustments here, or please wear a mask, and, hopefully this person won't be offended because they're wearing a mask or not wearing a mask. I just think that why go through all that when the next year we can certainly, we would hope, go full bore and giving back everything that was remembered and from before, without holding back at all. The other thing I wanted to bring up is I think this actually presents an opportunity for us to try something different. I think, Jody, your fourth in a box, I think, again, is very creative and can get people involved and engaged in the event that hasn't been before. I, for one, having younger kids, a lot of times we weren't able to participate or go to look. I know a lot of families did, but we had families, and we had a lot of Elk Grove families that joined us that just wanted to do the safe and sane stuff, in the street in front of our house. And we couldn't even see the fireworks from my side of town anyway. So there is and you're never going to please anybody, but I think this is an opportunity to actually reach different people, to get people into the spirit and being able to disperse, this fourth in the box throughout the city, and to a number of families that might not have been engaged before. So I really find this fourth in the box idea pretty intriguing, and I'd like to give it a shot. And I think it would, this year would be good because there's so much uncertainty anyway. It might be a good opportunity to try that out, and then see where it goes from there. So I guess what I'm saying is I would prefer option 2 on both of them. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilmember Sun. Vice Mayor Nguyen.
Thank you, ma'am. First, Ms. Moreno, thank you so much for the options, and they're great options. I think I have a question, and I don't know if it's something you can answer or Mr. Bierman can answer, but should we choose one of the options? So let's say we choose option 1. How soon do we have before we can switch and say, oh, never mind, we can't now, we can go to option 2? How much timing do you need to prepare for option 2?
As part of the fireworks contract, the first half, the deposit, is actually due in a week. So we don't have a lot of time, and that's why we brought it forth to you now. The deposit's due. That doesn't mean that it can't go towards next year's, but that part is due. And then we would go from there and start, getting everything we need, because so far we haven't worked on it, trying to see where the state was going to be.
Right, right. I had the opportunity to see the fireworks. It was in District 4. And so my kids and I had the opportunity to drive over there by Costco, and we had a clear view of it, and it was beautiful. It was wonderful. It was almost as if you were close to it. And I did hear a lot of comments from other folks that said they had no idea where it was at. They can hear it, they can see it. But the lot at Costco and also in the surrounding areas, you saw everybody just pulling over in the middle of the streets. Once they saw it, they would pull over to the side and get out of the car and watch. And that was nice to see our community do that. So I think we just approved a bunch of sponsorships for events to happen. And I heard at least 2 of us say, yes, have events so we can come back. So we can't just approve those and saying have these events so we can go back and not do one and be a leader in this, right? And so I would be supportive of option 1 and moving forward to doing that. And then and I don't know, I mean, you have to put the deposit down next week. And so that means we're at the risk of, if things happen to get worse and we have to then do option 2, we'll have to revisit that, I guess. But for now, I think I'm with option 1 for both.
Thank you. As it relates to, I'll go ahead and start with the Multicultural Festival first. The trends pre-COVID we've been seeing is a decline in attendance for the Multicultural Festival. So I think this is a great opportunity for us to look at broadening that impact and celebrating our diversity with a series of events throughout our city. So I would definitely be much more in supportive of option 2 for the and particularly as it relates to the Diversity and Inclusion Commission with their recommendations. We have tremendous opportunities not only with our farmers market, but other options throughout the city to truly showcase different cultures and provide additional opportunities rather than a one-shot opportunity. So I'm definitely in support of what I think what the commissioners are recommending. And there's definitely a reason why they support that. And so I want to honor that. That's why we have them and their input on this, particularly as it relates to an event. Let's try something that's broader, and then you can compare and contrast for the following year. Maybe this may actually be better, because we've seen such a tremendous decline from the very first Multicultural Festival to the one just prior to COVID. So this provides options for us, I think, as a city to look at having greater impact. So on that, I'm supportive of option 2. As it relates to the fireworks, the red, white, and blue, I was on the city 2x2 with the CSD, and the vice mayor and I both were in favor of moving forward, of having events. And I sit on the state commission, Visit California, and our theme parks are open with Disneyland and Universal Studios. So while there is hesitancy, and I truly appreciate what Councilmember Sun had mentioned during his comments, but at the same time, I want to balance that with what our expectations are of trying to get back to normal. And we have an option. If the numbers don't go well, we can do what we did last year, which is option 3, I guess, because it'll be hard to plan for option 2 in that 3-week turnaround. So I appreciate that fully. But to have the fireworks celebration and celebrate, I think that that's important. And to be leaders on this, perhaps other cities will reconsider. If we're truly saying that we're trying to get back to business as usual pre-COVID, then I want to see us sort of lead on those efforts. And June 15th, it's just a date. But from all things that I'm seeing and having discussions with our fire chief, who's on the front lines as well of monitoring the cases, I feel confident, but things can go the other way. But this is a reminder back to our community to be safe and be responsible. And I think that we can have a wonderful event with our masks, our social distancing, having hand sanitizer stations and what have you, and be responsible, but at the same time, celebrate our country and do that as a community. So I would be in support of option one. And in the event things don't go well, then doing what we did last year. I live in Stone Lake and I had a great view of the fireworks show. My house backs up to a levee and open space, so I didn't have housing in between to be a buffer. But a lot of Stone Lake came out and brought their lawn chairs on the levee and just enjoyed a beautiful display. So I think we have an alternative, but I would love to see us move forward with having a modified event where we observe our safety protocols. So if I'm counting the votes right, I think you have at least 3 for option 1. And then I would say, I think you have at least 3 for option 2 for the multicultural. Does your math add the same? Okay.
Yes, it does.
Okay.
Thank you so much.
All right, thank you. Thank you for the presentation and thank you to my colleagues. We will move on then to the next item.
And that next item is item 10.4, which is to consider a resolution adopting a mission, vision, goals, and priority projects for 2021, 2022, and amending the City Council Norms and Procedures Manual.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. Christopher Jordan, Director of Strategic Planning and Innovation for the city. I'll go through this briefly this evening in the interest of time, but this is a follow-up item from your retreat back in February. Opportunity to do final review on the mission, vision, goals, and priority projects for the coming 2-year cycle. And then based upon your direction at the retreat, we have updates to the norms and procedures to add the governance principles as you discussed. As you're aware, there are 4 overall city goals that are included in the documentation. I won't go through these in great detail, but they're outlined here on the screen. There are, under these 4 goals, there are each, which are basically top line statements. There are supporting sub-bullet points that then reinforce these and provide additional detail and color. There's no revisions to these 4 goals themselves, but we have made revisions based on your direction to the subpoints. Specifically, in goals 1 and 2, we've added language around inclusiveness and equity. In goal 1 as well, we've also removed the reference to COVID and replaced it with language around resilient business community. And then finally, in goal 2, we've also updated the bullet point on homelessness and services, again, based on your direction. Relative to the priority projects, these are all moving forward as you directed at the retreat, with the addition of row E7, which is an item to undertake community discussions on needs, priorities, and opportunities to enhance the quality of life for Elk Grove residents and create an environment that allows local business to thrive. Additional details are in the attachment. Relative to the governance principles, there are 6 here that we're recommending including in the norms and procedures. Again, these reflect direction from the retreat. Again, I won't go through these in detail, but they generally address the overall concept of teamwork between the council members, the idea of advocating for services based upon overall city need, as well as informed interest in issues within each district, that all members the members are all concerned and involved with any city issue, regardless of district, and incorporating the concept of customer service across the council members in the districts. So that concludes my presentation this evening, available to answer any questions you may have.
Thank you, Christopher. I will open up the public comment opportunity.
For item 10.4, we did not receive any prior written comments, and I'm just giving a look over the attendee listing, and I'm not seeing any raised hands from our attendees in the Zoom audience. So that'll conclude public comment under item 10.4.
All right, thank you. I will close the public comment opportunity and open it up for council direction and entertain a motion if there are no questions.
I have no question. I'll motion.
Second.
I heard a motion, I think from Vice Mayor Nguyen, and a second from Council Member Hume.
And with the motion and the second, I will proceed to the roll call vote. And I'll start with Councilmember Spies.
Aye.
Councilmember Hume.
Aye.
Councilmember Suen.
Aye.
Vice Mayor Nguyen.
Aye.
And Mayor Singh Allen.
Aye.
The resolution of item 10.4 will pass 5-0.
All right, thank you. Before we adjourn, I just want to adjourn in the memory of Irene B. West. May her memory be a blessing to her family, her friends, and our community. Thank you, everyone. Have a good evening.
Thanks. Good night, everybody.
All right.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you.